Okay, here's a good little 15-mile drive round trip. Takes me about an hour there and back. I go get the car washed, stop, get some lunch. There's quite a few stretches of just long roads. So, what I'm going to do with those, I'm going to speed up to 4x. And if you just really want to watch it, you can slow your speed down to a quarter. So here we're coming up on our first turn. This turn, it has always hugged that center line. So it's always gotten too close to that center line for me. The next turn is a left turn, and it actually does better. Now, keep in mind, in Autopilot, I've been doing this road. This is my main road to and from my house. So I've been doing this road for years in Autopilot. So I pretty much know what's going to happen on this road, and nothing surprises me anymore with this road. And here again, we have another right-hand turn that it really hugs that center line. It's almost uncomfortable when you cross a vehicle, when you're in front of a vehicle. So I kind of wish Tesla would fix that so that Autopilot either stays in the center of the lane or hugs the lane opposite of traffic. Um, it just never seems right to me. It doesn't like this hill, never has. It's hard to see once you get on top, then of course you can see, but as you're going up, it's like a roller coaster. And Autopilot's always had a problem with it. Now, as I start coming into town, you'll notice that I am starting to slow the car down because one of the problems that I've noticed is that it is not slowing down at all. As you can see here, it is taking forever to go down to 40 miles an hour. And if there's a cop sitting there, I'm going to get a ticket. So I really wish it would slow down. The funny thing is, when we get on the highway, you'll notice that it does slow down really quick. As soon as it gets to a speed limit, it slows down. And I think that's the difference between city driving autopilot and highway driving autopilot. And there is a difference. So we're going to get on the highway here in a minute, and I'll show you the difference. We're going to take a right-hand turn up here. It actually doesn't do too bad on this turn, but you can see the steering wheel jutting. There was another speed limit change too, down to 30 miles an hour. So here it does a pretty good job. Makes that turn just fine. And then, as you see here, if there's no center line, it really hugs the middle of the road. I wish they had it so that it would hug the right-hand side of the road, not the middle of the road. It pretty much wants to take its half out of the middle. So we're going to come up here and we're going to take left. As you see, we're hitting all the potholes because, why not? It does a pretty good job with this left. It cuts the corner though. You see how it just cuts the corner. I wish it would, go straight a little further and then turn left, but it cuts the corner. Here I get a little too heavy-handed with it. It doesn't like this intersection because it sees the highway traffic and the service road traffic, and it gets confused. And right there, you see, I got a little heavy-handed with the steering wheel, and kicked it out of autopilot. But I just put it right back in autopilot, and it was able to go. So now we're going to get on the highway, and here you'll see the difference between city driving and highway driving. And the car's been doing autopilot on the highway for 3 years now. I mean, the car's over 3 years old, so we have I've got 84,000 miles on this car. It probably has 75,000 in autopilot. So on the highway, this car is rock solid. There's no problems here. So you'll see this changeover right here. So now it's switched over to highway autopilot, navigate on autopilot. And like I said, this is just the way it's always been. So I'm going to go ahead and stop and fast forward from here. Okay, here we're coming up on our exit. I moved over to let this truck in. When I get around the truck, and then I'm going to squeeze back over to the right hand side of the road. And this is a very, very, very short exit. So the car actually does the exit great, but once again, I get too heavy handed and I actually kick it out of autopilot, and I don't realize this. So it actually has to take evasive action because I'm not paying attention. I didn't realize that it wasn't in autopilot. So you'll see coming up, the exit is very, very short. The car actually starts slowing down, which is good because there's no way it's going to make this exit at 70 miles an hour. So it's going to start slowing down. And because I have lane change confirmation, I have to go ahead and put on the blinker. I found out the best way to do navigate on autopilot is not to allow it to auto lane change. Always make it confirm with me if it's going to lane change. So here I put on the blinker, we exit, no problem, and right there, that's when I take it out of autopilot. And I don't realize that it's not in autopilot. So here it's going to go, wait a minute, why are you running me into the dirt? And I just realized, crap, I didn't have autopilot on. So now I've put on autopilot again, and now we're going to sit here and wait for the light. So here I do have to take over. As it's turning to the left, you'll see that the car gets confused. And this has happened in quite a few of these large intersections. If you notice, it's going to try to take a left into the wrong lane. So I had to take over, and I report that one because that was on the car, not me. Now I put autopilot back on. So now we come up on the Walmart light. The Walmart light, I change into the next lane. I need to be in the left lane, so it's going to change into the left lane. This light changes yellow, and it is yellow. You'll see it right now. It's yellow. The car is not stopping. There's no way the car would have made it through that light without it turning to red. So I have to take over, and once again, I report that as well because it was just going to take me right through that intersection. Okay, so we've set through that stoplight. We've got our green light. Autopilot is on. And as we start driving, I realize what's coming up is a U-turn. And I just know this thing's not going to make a U-turn. But it'll be interesting to see what happens, right? So here we go. We got to go through this stoplight. We got to go a little ways straight. So I'm going to fast forward until we get to the U-turn. Now we're coming up on our U-turn. The truck's going to take a left turn, and we need to do a U-turn. So we turn in here. The truck's able to go, but the gate has opened. So here comes the floodgate with all the vehicles. And then I look down and I notice the message. And the message says, there's no way I can do this. You're going to have to take over. But as you notice, I don't really see that right away. And so now I just realized that, I'm going to have to do the U-turn. Makes sense. I mean, I don't think the car is ready to do U-turns yet. So it makes sense. So we're going to wait for traffic, then we're going to take a U-turn, and then I'll turn on then I was going to try to turn on autopilot, but instead the car wash is right there. So I just go to the car wash. So I'm going to skip ahead until we go to the drive home. So we got our car washed, pulling out. I'm going to go ahead and turn on autopilot here. It doesn't stay. So it gets in behind this car. Now, watch this. There's somebody coming, so it turns off. So I turn it back on. It creeps up, and then it continues creeping up, and there's a car coming. So I've actually got to take control and go. I report that as well. it was just completely lost. It didn't know what to do there. So now we're headed home. So this part here, I try to get it to go in the left-hand lane, but it doesn't. It thinks that car's coming. There's not a car coming, so I just take over. I didn't report, or did I? Yeah, I did report that because it didn't want to move into the left-hand lane. It should have gone into the left-hand lane and went around all this traffic. You can see there's tons of cars here. This light always backs up. It's a terrible light. But anyway, we got our autopilot turned back on, and what we need to do is get through this light, get through the next light, and then change into the right-hand lane so that we can make it on the highway. Okay, so the light changed red on me again before I can get through it. I stopped the video and pulled it up here because watch in the center, it all of a sudden squirts my windshield. Now I just got done with the car wash. Why? Why do you need to wash my windshield? It's automatic, right? So if it senses that it needs to clean the sensor on the front, then it automatically squirts fluid on my windshield. So now my my nice clean windshield is now dirty again. Thanks, car. All right, like I said, that's times 4, so just slow down to a quarter speed if you want to see that. So we need to merge. It's going to merge into the right-hand lane, and then after it merges, we got to get through this light, and then we're going to take a right to get to 35. If you notice, my windshield wipers are still trying to clear off the debris. Okay, welcome back. The only thing you missed was us sitting at a stoplight. So now we're going, and we're going to creep forward because of all the traffic. We need to move into the second right-hand lane, not this right-hand lane. It would take us the wrong way, and the car actually misses it. So the car does a good job here. Finally get up here so that we can take our right, and it needs to go right, so it's going to move that way eventually. Come on, car. There it goes. Whew. See, I personally would have gone earlier, and then there's a constable. I'm just going, okay, great, this guy's gonna pull me over for drunk driving. Here we pull up to the stoplight. Now what it needs to do, the car in front of it went right, so it can go right on red. It does have the power. It knows it can do that. But it can't see around this pickup here on the left-hand side. And so we creep, we creep, we creep. I'm watching. I'm making sure it's not going to get in trouble. Oh, and there it goes. I kicked it out of over. I think I got heavy-handed again is what happened. So I think I grabbed the steering wheel too hard. So it's my fault. I didn't, once again, I don't record that. So now I put it into autopilot. Now this is a very short on ramp. And so what I've got to do is it's got to get on this ramp, and then it has to speed up. And of course there's a semi in front of it slowing me down, and then it's got to move over. So this is a very challenging. There's a lot of people that go around this area. They hate using this on ramp, but it navigates it just fine, no issues. And from here on out, it's just me driving down the highway. So I'll go ahead and fast forward this part. Well, it's the same highway, so I'm just going to cut out this part. When I get to the end of the road or the end of the highway, we'll be back. Alright, we've traveled the highway. We finally got up here to our exit. Remember, I have lane change confirmation, so I had to raise up the blinker to get it to exit the highway. So now it's going to exit the highway. It's going to end the navigate on autopilot, and it's going to pick up on what they're calling FSD, but I mean, this is City Streets Autopilot. Is what I call it, but I don't know. They're calling it FSD. But anyway, we're gonna pull up here to the stoplight. It does not take this turn very well. What it wants to do is it wants to go into the oncoming traffic lane for some reason, and so I have to take control and move it over, and then report it because they need to fix that. Now I can put it back in autopilot. Now I can navigate home. Um, so there you have it. Me going to Denton.